And hello and welcome to episode 2 of Let's Play The Elder Scrolls 4 Morrowind. And I start off by trying to sneak up on this goblin, and the point that I died, that I had to go back about 15 minutes, was when you meet the Emperor and you're there with the Emperor, and they tell you to stay back in this little room, and they charge out of the room, and then a panel opens behind the Emperor, and someone assassinates him. When they charge out of the room to go kill the guys in red robes, who I don't remember who or what they are. It's been a while. They charge out of the room. One of them managed to get past them. I've never seen that happen before. I've never seen them get past the guards and come attack me, but that happened, and he drained all my health just before the guy I killed him. He drained all of my health just before the guy I killed him, and he drained all my health just before the guy popped up and out of the wall and killed the Emperor. And then that made me easy pickings for the guy that killed the Emperor. And I've never seen that happen, and it didn't happen in this second playthrough when I went back to it. So you're not going to see that happen, because I decided to cut that out for the sake of time. It was an hour and 44 minutes, and let's cut it down to just a little bit shy of an hour and 30. And it was kind of embarrassing to die on the opening fucking tutorial level, the tutorial dungeon of this game. This tutorial is not difficult to get through at all. But for some reason that guy snuck past them and started attacking me, and I've never seen that happen before, and I didn't get the chance to try to heal myself after he had done a lot of damage to me before the guy popped out of the wall and basically took one or two swings at me and killed me almost instantly after he killed the Emperor. Here's the lockpicking game in this game, and I gotta say, I like the lockpicking game in Fallout 3 and Skyrim better than I like it in this game. I think it's a better lockpicking game. The one in this game is I find it a little annoying. Maybe it's more realistic, I don't fucking know, but it's kind of... Did I seriously not take the iron key? Kind of annoying, but is what it is. Have to deal with it to play this game. So Screwattack, there is kind of gone. Like, the channel rebranded itself from Screwattack to Death Battle, and I realized that it's just kind of a formality at this point, because they haven't really focused on the kind of content they did under the name Screwattack in a long time. It's been like the top 10s that Nick did that we recently moved over to the No, which is the only reason I'd want to subscribe to the No, because I like Nick's top 10s. Was the last bastion of the Screwattack style content that they did that wasn't in some way Death Battle related. But they're done using that name. They're done with using the old Bolt logo and stuff like that. So it's kind of sad, because I was a big fan of Screwattack. Like, I started watching Screwattack when they were on game trailers. Back when, so far back that Handsome Tom was on the video game vaults and the top 10s that they were doing on game trailers back then. And I would watch that, and it was entertaining, man. Like, I loved that stuff. I loved it, and they hosted the Angry Video Game Nerd on their website back in the early days, and he helped him gain more notice, and it just kind of grew and ballooned from there. And they were kind of pioneers, because this was 13 years ago that they started. Video content really wasn't common back then. Wasn't overly common back then for video game websites and the like. So that they were doing something that really there wasn't that much of at the time. So it was kind of big deal. And a lot of people that are fairly well known nowadays got their start or were featured on there and got a big boost. Like Peanut Butter Gamer had a video or two that was featured on Screwattack's front page, and he got a bunch of subs from that. Pro Jared, who has over 1 million subs at this point, was a member of the Screwattack crew. They had hosted name tags, and then he moved to Texas to become a part of the Screwattack crew. And he was in a lot of their content back in the day. He hosted Hard News for a while. They picked up Dustin Legary, who is working for IGN now, and he did Hard News originally, and then Pro Jared did it. Chad did it for a while, and Sean Hines did it too. And Hard News was such a good format. Like, it was quick, easy to digest, simple. Just gave you the news with some good jokes in between, and it was a good, quick format to keep people up to date with regards to video game news.
Shall prove a stalwart companion when fortune fades.
And then they had Side Scrollers, which was their podcast, which was the heart of what they did.
In your face, I behold the sun's companion, the dawn of
like, if I remember right, Screwattack was created around the idea of it being a podcast, and they were a huge inspiration for me.
My heart must be satisfied.
They were one of the big reasons why I wanted to create a podcast in the first place. Like, when I started this whole Doomdog thing, it was actually originally called Digital Delirium.
Men are but flesh and blood. They know their
okay, I'll start at the beginning.
But not the hour.
Eric and I have been friends for a long goddamn time. And we used to have a fairly short-lived
I go to my grave.
Webcomic called From Pong to Eternity. For a series of comics that we did in From Pong to Eternity, we needed something that was basically the in-universe version of E3. And the name we came up with for that was Digital Delirium. And I liked that name so much that when I went in to create a website to host a podcast, the Press the Action Button podcast that we still occasionally do on the channel, I wanted to use the name. I went with the name Digital Delirium because I really liked that name. And that was the name of the YouTube channel as well. And the YouTube channel was originally just a method of advertising for the podcast. And one of the big inspirations for creating the podcast was Side Scrollers that Screwattack did. I loved Side Scrollers, and I loved the Epic Battle Cast that was done by Daniel, who used... What was his name? What was his last... I don't remember. One of the guys that used to work at Game Trailers. had a podcast that was video games and heavy metal. And if you know me, those are two of my biggest interests. So I was all about that. But they were a big inspiration on me. And then we originally created this YouTube channel, and all we did was host previews of the podcast on it. So we'd have like a host a preview of the podcast on it and have a link to the podcast in the description. Like, if you want more, here's the full length podcast. That never took off. Nothing I've ever done took off, but that's beside the point. I eventually we got away from that, and I started doing video content. And originally it was a drinking game where we just get drunk, be stupid, and play video games. And we did a few episodes of that, and that's all. I still have one that's unedited. It was on Fear. I should go back and actually edit that someday to get that done and out.
Don't like this. Let me take a look. There's no time to talk now, prisoner. We've got to keep moving.
Then we started going to cons, and we'd take the camera with us, and we make videos about our trips to cons. And I did 3 videos based around, or was it 4 videos? I don't remember. It was 3 or 4 videos based around the year that we went to the Screwattack gaming convention, because I was a big fan of Screwattack. They had a whole bunch of people that I was fans of, like Spoonie was there, and I miss his video reviews. Like, I wish he would quit yammering on about his politics and get back to writing video reviews, because that's where his forte lies. That's what he's good at. He's a really good writer, not so good in regards to politics. But Screwattack, I got to tell Craig that Screwattack was a huge inspiration. I met him at that con, and I got to tell him, dude, you're a huge inspiration on my own podcast. I haven't had any success, but I wanted to thank you for my inspiration. And he gave me a hug, and that was fucking awesome. Like, Craig, you're the man. I know chances of you seeing this are like slim to none, but you're the man. But they would the Completionist was on there as on Screwattack as well, and the Game Chasers got featured on the front page as well, and all kinds of different people got featured on the front page of Screwattack. I even got featured twice. Once for an article that I wrote about
Oblivion.
It was a demo that it was a demo for Infamous that I had been given early access to by Sony by being in a MVP program that they were running at that time. And I played the demo, and I wrote a little preview of it, and they thought that was cool and featured that. The other was when they went to when they had a game store called Screwattack, which is kind of ironic in hindsight, because Craig and Sean Boland moved on to create a new YouTube channel called Screwattack, where they stream all the time. But it was originally the name of a store that they ran, Screwattack. And I went there, and I took my cell phone and recorded just terrible looking cell phone footage of the store. Of course it was terrible because it was cell phone footage. This was all before I knew anything about video editing. I didn't start video editing until like 2012 or something.
Nothing I ever heard about. But Joffrey
2013, somewhere in there.
He's the Grand Master of my order.
And I'm entirely self-taught. But
he lives quietly as a monk at Waynon Priory, near the city of Coral. first,
but
we need to get out of
they
here.
featured that on the front page, and then
Sewers past the locked gate. That's where we were heading.
Gerardo,
Secret way out
who
of the Imperial City.
I think Gerardo's from Venezuela,
Here,
but don't
lead
quote
us
me
deep
on
from the
that.
master of the sewers.
But he
There are
ran a
rats
show
out
on there called The
there.
Random
Seeing as
Show.
I'm guessing you're an experienced
And he
scout.
featured a video or two of mine on his show, which also got it a lot of views, which was awesome. And he's part of the Screwattack crew as well now, so that was really cool to see. Or he was part of the Screwattack crew. Now it's the Death Battle crew, I guess, or part of Rooster Teeth or something. I don't know. Screwattack only kind of existed in the first place because it was absorbed into Rooster Teeth, and a bunch of the team members from Screwattack started doing other things for Rooster Teeth, like
Take no chances, but
Brian
proceed to
joined the
fire immediately.
production
Got it?
team, and Chad is doing a voice on Genlock.
The Emperor's trust was well placed.
Torian is joined their animation team there, so he
We better get moving.
probably working on Genlock as well. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but they would do video game content, and they were a huge inspiration on. They were one of the numerous inspirations on me when I started doing my own video game content and started doing Let's Plays. I decided I wanted to do a video review of every single game that I Let's Played, and that was the Doom Dog that was Digital Delirium for a couple of years, and then I moved away from it. But I watched so much of Screwattack's content back in the day. I loved that. So, like, not everything they did was great. Not everything especially when you're trying to produce content every single day, not all of it's going to be great. And that's definitely true of Screwattack, but they had a lot of really good content. I loved the armory that Destin did, where he would talk about awesome video game weapons and put them in their quote-unquote armory. I loved Jose's Puntos, and God, I'm going back a long way when I read that up, where he would talk about like different strategies for multiplayer maps and multiplayer shooters and stuff like that. I loved the clip of the week, where they would have put together a funny little video every single week. Obviously, the Angry Video Gamer was part of Screwattack, and he did a lot of content. Brittle Floss got a massive boost because he was on Screwattack, and he was closely tied with them, and he did a lot of videos with them. Was in a couple clip of the weeks and stuff like that. Hard News and its various iterations over the years. I loved when they would hand Hard News to Nick, and they would write a bunch of fake stories that were difficult for him to read. Because that shit was funny, man. That shit was really funny. Like, you could almost hear them, like, chuckling off camera when he was sitting there reading this shit. God, it was great. Or when Craig would host Hard News, and he was just fucking unpredictable. You never knew what Craig was going to do when he hosted Hard News. It was like he set out to make it as disastrous as he possibly could for the sake of humor, and I loved it. Yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia and memories tied to Screwattack, and I used to always host all of my podcasts on there back in the day, and I always wanted to be a good enough video editor to be part of the Screwattack crew, and I don't think I am, especially now. And I don't think I ever was. Like, someone recently told me, your video editing is way above someone with your subscriber count, and I'm like, oh well, thank you. That really means a lot to me. I thought that was awesome that somebody said that to me, because I do work very hard, and I do think my video editing has gotten a lot better. Like, I think you watch like my Portal 2 review or my Halo review or my Fallout 3 review or something like that. And I think the editing on that's actually pretty good. The PlayStation Mini video is also pretty darn. The PlayStation Classic is also pretty good video, I think. Pretty well put together. I think I have done good work editing, but I'm entirely self-taught. So I don't think I have quite the same level of skill as they did when they were producing all that classic Screwattack content. I still have a Screwattack DVD. I still have a Screwattack Heineken beer shirt. I still have my lanyard and my name tag and whatnot from when I went to SGC. That's hanging on doorknob and for my closet, actually. So the Screwattack means a lot to me personally, and it was always really cool to me to know that there was this company making video game content, being successful at it in my area, because I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and Craig and Sean are also in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Screwattack used to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area before they moved to Austin, because that's where Rooster Teeth is. And Craig and Sean didn't want to make that move. They wanted to focus more on games than on Death Battle, so they split and became part of and started doing their own thing under the name Game Attack, which is, I guess, the Screwattack of nowadays. It's kind of, but yeah, it's kind of sad to see the Bolt go and the name go. And on the podcast, on the Death Battle cast, they said that it was like the Screwattack name isn't dead; it's just dormant. Like the opportunity to do that kind of content is still there. Is what they were talking about, and I would love to see more of it in the future. And don't get me wrong, Death Battle's fucking awesome. Like, the production value is so goddamn good on that show, and the fights are always energetic and fun to watch, and they get great animators to animate everything they do, and it's just it's a fun show to watch. I like Death Battle a lot, and I learn a lot about a bunch of different characters that I never knew anything about. Like, I didn't know anything about Namor the Submariner when they did their recent one where he fights Aquaman. I didn't fucking know anything about him. But, I'm not going to lie and say that I don't miss what Screwattack was back in the day. Like, classic Screwattack videos, like the salsa eating contest, the chicken nuggets eating contest, the clip of the week when they had the toucan character whose name is escaping me. I think it was Nick, and they decided to take Nick in that costume to a furry convention. That shit was funny, man. That's classic stuff. I loved that kind of content. That was really good stuff. Like, you could tell Nick was just nervous as fuck and didn't know what the hell was going on. It was just confused and seemed kind of annoyed, and I don't blame him. But it was so much fun. It's just sad to see that massive part of internet history. It's just sad to see that massive part of internet history just gone now. I keep trying to adjust the mic to get rid of the fucking background noise, and I don't know why it keeps coming back, but I leave the mic the fuck alone, and then it starts coming back again. And I'm like, No, I want this gone. God damn it, stay gone. Yeah, Stuttering Craig and the Screwattack crew were a huge inspiration on me and everything that I do here, both under the name Digital Delirium and under the name Doom Dog. And I realize a lot of it's far removed from the kind of stuff that they did. And I'm probably nowhere near as good of an editor as they are. But that was always kind of my personal dream of mine, was I would love to work there. And I don't know how well I'd fucking fit in, because I'm more of a single player guy and not really into fighting games, which a lot of them are huge into fighting games. So I don't know if that would have worked out at all, but it would have been so cool. And that's basically gone now. Not gonna dwell on that. I'm not trying to be all sad, depressing about my own opportunities. To I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the work that I do on the Doom Dog. Like, if I didn't enjoy this, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, Craig, if you happen to see this, love you, man. You're awesome. I've met you and Chad and a few others a couple times in the past, and you were always super nice to me. And what I loved about Screwattack the most is how community focused it was. Like, Craig and the others just absolutely love the Screwattack community. They loved the people that, like, they were always wanting to talk to the members of the G1 community. They were always looking through stuff that the G1 community uploaded and featuring it. Like, it was so cool. I had, before or since, I've never seen another website be nearly as focused on their fans as Screwattack was. And it may never happen again. So that was really, really cool of them. Like, I love that about Screwattack. And the only other thing, like, that I can think of that's quite like that is Stuttering Craig doing Game Attack. Because Death Battle, like, they do get the fans involved because they take suggestions from them, but how do you get the fans involved when Death Battle is the only thing that you do? You can't, like, go, oh, this is cool, I'm going to pluck this and I'm going to put it on the front page of our website or anything like that. You know, you can't really do that. So that kind of thing is just gone. And the Wild West days of the internet like that are kind of gone, and where you can have a wide variety of content on your channel instead of focusing in on one or two things that you're really good at. And you can thank, one, the dominance of YouTube, and two, the YouTube algorithm that kind of crushes other content out of existence. I'm sure my channel confuses the fuck out of the algorithm because of all the different kinds of content that I've done over the years and the name change and everything. But I've never found the success that these other people have. Like, my most successful video on this fucking channel is random gameplay that I uploaded of Diablo 3. The PlayStation 4 version of the game. I don't know why that was so successful, and I've never been able to repeat it. But Screwattack, huge influence on me personally. So, Craig, if you happen to see this, or any of the other members of the Screwattack crew, if you happen to see this, I just wanted to say thank you guys for 13 years of entertainment on that channel. I really, really loved a lot of the work you guys did and was a huge fan of it. Thank you for featuring me the 2 times that you did. That was before I really started editing videos heavily and producing regular content. So it's not something that I can really, I really benefited big time from, but I appreciated it nonetheless. Yeah. Thanks for all the memories, guys. I loved every second of it, and I wouldn't trade those memories for anything. I loved Screwattack. It'll always be part of who I am. Anyway, that's enough. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Let's Play The Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you share this video. It would help me out a lot. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks, everybody, and goodbye.